As dawn broke over Fort Hood on this somber day, soldiers from the 4th Combat Aviation Brigade were focused on business.
There's still 2 active wars, and we will do what we need to do today. We'll remember and honor the fallen, take care of the wounded and their families, and then we'll drive on.
Today's mission focused on contingency planning.
So if there's an incident, that's probably our link.
For a crisis during the memorial.
We have medevac aircraft on call, we have heavy lift on call, and we have command and control aircraft on call.
About 8:30 this morning, outside a local mosque where Major Nidal Hassan worshipped, Major Daryl Guidry, a Muslim soldier from Fort Hood, dropped by to offer rides to the memorial, a gesture of welcome and inclusion.
So the key, I think, to getting Americans to better understand what Islam is and what Muslims are all about. We don't consider it a terrorist attack. Major Hassan, he's a soldier who just happens to be Muslim.
Moments after the car pulled away, we saw 4 FBI agents pull in, and they began to search the trash bins outside. By late this morning, the memorial field began to fill, with thousands of soldiers, including many of those injured in the rampage, and the 13 families of the fallen. 545 soldiers from Fort Hood have been lost overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan. This post is no stranger to tragedy, but to have it happen here is especially hard to take.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Shortly before 2 o'clock, President Obama walked slowly to the stage to offer words of solace to a wounded nation.
Your loved ones endure through the life of our nation. Their memory will be honored in the places they lived and by the people they touched. Every evening that the sun sets on a tranquil town, every dawn that a flag is unfurled, every moment that an American enjoys life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that is their legacy.
As the president told the stories of the fallen, families and friends across the nation gathered to watch and to grieve.
Chief Warrant Officer Michael Cahill.
In Spokane, Washington, Michelle Atterbury, the sister of Michael Cahill, watched in abject sorrow.
You see the wars over there across the ocean, and now it's right here in our own backyard.
Private First Class Michael Pearson loved his family and loved his music, and his goal was to be a music teacher.
In Bolingbrook, Illinois, those closest to Michael Pearson were feeling the loss.
Private First Class Cam Gong came to America from Thailand as a small child.
In St. Paul, Minnesota, more than a dozen relatives of Private Cam Gong were overcome with emotion as his name echoed in the hall.
He always cared, and he was loved by many.
Staff Sergeant Amy Kruger.
Early this afternoon, a potent reminder of the tragic toll rolled down Main Street in Kiel, Wisconsin, a procession carrying the remains of Sergeant Amy Kruger, winding its way home.
She was, the bravest of the brave as far as we're concerned, and I think the nation hopefully sees that.
The president then turned his attention to the alleged killer, Major Nidal Hassan.
No faith justifies these murderous and craven acts. No just and loving God looks upon them with favor. For what he has done, we know that the killer will be met with justice in this world and the next.
The motive behind this inexplicable crime remains the focus of investigators, who are still questioning Hassan's contact with Anwar Awaki, a radical cleric in Yemen who authorities consider a recruiter for al-Qaeda.
Obviously the key is, did he act alone? And then secondary is what evidence might potentially be in the dumpsters or at the mosque.
U.S. officials confirmed that Hassan sent as many as 20 emails to Awaki, which authorities intercepted but later deemed innocent or protected by the First Amendment. And this evening, a senior official told ABC News that investigators have found that Hassan had more unexplained connections to people being tracked by the FBI. As the memorial came to a close this afternoon, a poignant Army ritual to honor the fallen.
Sergeant Hine.
Here, Sergeant Major.
Staff Sergeant Kruger.
Once you heard those names and nobody call out here, you realized even more so that they're not here anymore.
Specialist Hunt.
maybe I don't have peace about the 5 minutes that took him from us, but I'm not going to let 5 minutes of hate ruin everything that I know and love about my brother.
Layla Willingham was on the phone with her mother last Thursday when the casualty officers came to the door with the devastating news.
I don't think I could imagine that moment for you.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the sound of their voices echoing, and they just kept talking, and my mom just kept screaming, and they just kept talking. It was like a movie in slow motion. I'll never forget the sound of their voices and the sound of my mom bawling.
For the Fort Hood family, for the Army, for the nation, it has been a week filled with sorrow and incalculable loss.
On the charge, they're all yours. Go get them. Charge!
And that's maybe why this scene tonight packed such power. Shortly before 7 p.m. this evening, and after a year in Iraq, 295 soldiers of the 3rd Brigade, 1st Cavalry, came home. For Nightline, this is Bob Woodruff at Fort Hood, Texas.